All right, welcome back, YouTube. Preppers prepping outside the box. I'm Josh. This is a topic I had written up yesterday. I talked to one of the subs a while back. We were talking about Gray Man, and I feel it is more appropriate the way I'm explaining this the closer it gets to elections, right? So, obviously, I will also include my way down the line SHTF because that's where I like to plan, but topic, like I said, is Gray Man. Right before we start, if you would, please jump on there, like, share, subscribe, all that fun jazz that helps me grow. I really appreciate it. But without further ado, all right. So being a Gray Man has its place, right? Your location, the situation is always going to be the leading factor, the deciding factor of if you'd ever use this as a play, right? And we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about, instead of specifically talking about what it is, we're going to get into some examples, more or less, right? And first off, we're going to start off with the more obvious. Rioting and protesting might be the situation, and your location, the suburbs, right? So you're in a more suburban type area, and or at least a more dense area, and protests or whatever rioting is going on through your neighborhood. Now you might want to stay and defend your property, but I want you to remember this, and it is super important. Every bullet has a lawyer attached. Every bullet has a lawyer attached. So if you decide to protect yourself and your family, you have to be able to articulate and explain why you used whatever means of protection and each time you did, right? So keep that in mind. It's super important. Yeah, just keep it in mind, all right? I would say just secure your stuff, hide the important stuff, and bounce, right? If need be, and if you can. There's different scenarios, I get it. But being the Gray Man, so it could be as simple as just blending in and or like camouflaging with people. It could be having light clothes. It could be having the same kind of gear or whatever they're using, flags or whatever it is. It could be face wear. Obviously, that would be an important one too, especially now. I'm not saying because of masks, I'm saying because it will hide your face. A big one also is going to be your attitude and demeanor. So it's not just looking the part, it's acting the part, right? And if you're going to be bouncing out of your house, you're going to be, dipping out the backside, coming around to the street, you're gonna want to move and act like with your actions blend in with them too. That's going to be part of being a Gray Man. I will say, real quick side note, is think of your kids. I have kids. My first option will not be being a Gray Man and dipping out of the house. It's a little bit harder to sit there and be a Gray Man moving around with a 5-year-old. Now, if it comes down to it, I will find ways to move, but keep in mind that with kids it would be more difficult. Okay, so you've dipped out, you're dressed the part. Let's just say for the sake of argument, you're dressed from head to toe with your mask on and all that kind of stuff. So the only thing that could possibly be seen is your eyes, right? You're just set up, ready to cause havoc. Anyways, you've dipped out. Move slower than the group. Don't be trying to rush up and do it. Don't be trying to stay with them. Have setbacks and keep moving back. A big thing is you're finding an exit, right? I will caveat that. Do not find an exit by just running into your neighbor's backyard. Because if I was sitting here watching my property and somebody being a Gray Man decided to dip into my backyard, I might think it's a threat. I don't know. But let's not be running into our backyard and your scared neighbor or whatever it is decides to, shoot some birdshot at you or something because he gets scared. She gets scared, okay? So keep that in mind. You're not just finding the quickest exit, you're finding a safe exit. When you are safe and you've found your way, you've backed up enough out of that crowd and gotten away, remember you can double back hours later probably, and a good thing to do in the meantime would be go to one of your bug out locations if you have one. It could be a hotel, it could be some family or friends, it could be the diner that's a ways away from all the turmoil and everything like that, right? So find something, lay low, a couple hours, double back. If you're good to go, awesome. Assess your damage and then go from there, right? But the Gray Man on that idea is literally for the safety and security of yours. Your stuff is not as important as your own life, right? And getting out there and trying to be confrontational, like I said, bullets have lawyers, okay? So we're looking at more or less you guys staying in the neighborhood instead of being locked up or hurt and being in the hospital, all right? Now let's look deeper into an SHTF situation, my little favorite stuff, right? So, okay, first of all, obviously the gray man's not standing out and he's not all geared up, right? When we're talking about blending in or trying to be that person that no one cares about, no one, everyone ignores, the gray man, you're not going to be geared up from head to toe. So a good thing to consider is wearing like the concealed plates, right? It's just literally thin cloth and a plate. You can wear that in your clothing, things like that, low profile kits, belt systems and things like that. Stuff that you can wear on your body so you can still bring stuff for protection with you, but can be covered up by baggy clothing and things like that, right? Bulkier clothing. But consider that. If you're going to be a gray man, you don't have to lose your security. It's just going to be condensed, right? A bag, if you're going to be carrying gear with you, make sure it's not some high-speed, high-speed, low-drag bag. It's just something that's not tactical. It's not huge, bright colors drawing attention to yourself. It's just a bag. You know what I mean? So have your JanSport gray man bag that you can use. Everyone's got different kits, and it's smart to have a gray man kit, I guess you could say, and your more harder target stuff that you might be dealing with, depending on what's going on. All right, so demeanor and attitude is going to be a big part of this one. I always like to be the bad guy looking in at myself. It helps me critique what I think I'm doing right or wrong. So demeanor and attitude for this, consider watching your own movements and actions from the eyes of maybe a lookout perspective. So you're walking around, you're dressed the part and everything. How are you moving? Are you going cover to cover? Are you doing things, you know what I mean? What are you doing in your movement? What are the actions that you're taking? Are you hyper vigilant? All that kind of stuff. Are you, I don't know, are you openly carrying and things like that? What are you doing that's either going to make you more of, a stalker, hyper vigilant, or just casually walking while you're still aware? And I highlight still aware because just because you're nonchalant going with your JanSport bag or whatever it is, doesn't mean you're kicking rocks and staring at the ground. You're still, looking around. You're still aware. You still have situational awareness of what's going on around you. You don't lose that just because you're a gray man. So another one, are you on the outside looking in on their perspective, right? Are you a threat? Are you just a traveler looking maybe to barter, right? So what kind of, attitude and demeanor are you, and I need to learn some new words, right? What are you pushing out to everybody? What kind of image are you pushing out to everybody, right? So your whole job might have been, maybe you're part of a team and your deal is going out, you guys know there's a group or some kind of a settlement in this direction, but your whole job is literally to observe and report. You're looking at numbers, you're looking at if they're friendly or not, their abilities and things like that. So you might be moving along, still aware, casually walking, notice lookouts, things like that. Keep moving to their front entrance and all that, casually going up there to barter, whatever it is. But you're being gray man, and by that, it's not that you're not noticed, you're just not a threat, right? So you're making yourself a super soft target, which is another category, another part of being a gray man is you're a softer target. All right. A really important thing that I think needs to be considered is, again, I go back to kids. I've got kids. It's an important factor. A kid with you is going to make you a softer target. That could be good. That could be bad. It depends on what you're looking for. It depends on, I guess, the situation, right? Situation dictates. I hate that, but it's true. So they will make you a softer target. What I mean by that is they're going to be a liability. You're liable for their safety and security and all that kind of stuff. They're an extra mouth to feed, everything that goes along with it. They're going to be, they could also be an asset, but they're a liability for their security and safety, right? So they'll make you a softer target. Anyways, that could also, on a beneficial side possibly, is lower the guard of the group or settlement that you're approaching. So you're with kids, and think of movies and things if you want to make a really simple example, I guess. I know it's movies, but when people are walking with kids, people usually have a kinder, gentler approach to it, unless they are bad people. But you are already trying to figure out if they're friendly and if their abilities and numbers and all that kind of stuff goes up. Well, friendly would be part of that. And if they start being hostile to you while you have children, that could be a good indicator. So they could lower the guard of the group. They could give you some indicators of what kind of group they are. Kids, pros and cons, right? Anyways, I would say there's thousands of scenarios. There's many more ways I'm sure you could think of to be gray man and all this kind of stuff, the attitude, demeanor, the looks, and all that stuff. I would really like it if you guys would go ahead and write your opinions, your comments, your suggestions. Suggestions being a big one. Anything you think needs to be corrected. I'd love to hear it. I'll talk about it. Because like I said before, that's the only way we grow, right? But go ahead and write that stuff down in the comment section. And all this is just immediate considerations. If you're ever going to be or have to possibly do some kind of a gray man, and it gives you the idea of getting to safety in a now and day environment, or using it tactically in a far down SHTF situation, right? So that is the gray man. I'm prepping outside the box. I will see you tomorrow.